Hey guys, it's your girl Kizzy Rock, and yes, Kizzy Rock is my birth given name. I want to say hey to all my subscribers, new as well as seasoned. I got a word for you. Tap in. So guys, I want to jump right in. I pulled two emails and I wanted to touch on both of them in this one recording. The first email is in regards to a young lady who knows without a doubt she still have ties to a narcissist, but she wanted me to give my opinion, all caps opinion, on why it is important to break these ties before thinking or assuming that God will open doors. Honey, I'm going to talk about that. And next, what was I can't remember the title of the recording I made in regards to, I think that was on, what day was that I made that recording in regards to, when someone says the quote unquote, I didn't ask you to do it. Can't remember the title of the recording. But I know I was talking about towards the ending how Mr. Steve had me so enraged with his comment, right? So I had a conversation with a gentleman, man, all caps, MAN, someone who opinion I respect immensely. And again, I don't believe there's right or wrong in things. It's just more so less of the perspective. We as women, we're nurturers, so we see something one way, and then men, some see things just from like that cut and dry. Men are fixers, men are doers. So even if we agree with the way they may see, do, or drag their feet on something, we still got to understand, like, just let them do what they do. Just let them try it. Then let them come back to you for certain answers. So I want to talk about that because I got a different perspective, clearly different perspective on this conversation last night. So I'm going to talk about that. All right. So first, let's talk about this narcissist. Okay, sis, here's the thing. Now, I must say, thank God, I've never had to deal with more than one narcissist. Because one narcissist is enough to have you screwed up for life if you're not careful, right? But we're not going to even get into the whole shebang of the narcissist, right? Because that can go in so many different directions here. But we're talking about the importance of making sure that spirit is broken and you are completely free of that thing before God opens certain doors. Well, think about it. Okay, like I always say, dealing with a narcissist is like a freaking spider web. So if they have your life all entangled right now, full of emotions, reverse psychology, turning people against you, throwing a rock, hiding their hand, all that stuff, right? That's what the narcissist does. Few things what they do. So if your mind is all over the place now, your spirit is disturbed all the time with the games they play, why would God open a door for you to steward or to certain blessings or whatever it is that you're waiting on, just to have the narcissist come in and have you entangled and have their spider web all over these blessings? It's not going to happen. So sometimes we feel like, well, if God opens this door, I can just escape the narcissist. No, the narcissist, that's a spirit. That's a spirit. So no matter where you go, it's going to follow you. You have to break that thing in the spiritual realm. So you can move somewhere across the country, but if you haven't broken that spirit and that narcissist still have any access to you, they're just that spider web would just slowly but surely grow to wherever you are on the other side. So it may not be as that spider web may not be as large and profound and have the grasp over you on the other side of the world like it did when maybe you was local with the person. But over time, if they still have access to you, that web will grow. Remember, they use people, they use things. And so this is why it's so important, again, that you can't even be discussing anything about them, because they will take a conversation and plug your name in it. And before you know it, you're trying to defend yourself. So it grows. So personally, what I learned about the narcissist in the spiritual realm is it has to be broken in the spiritual realm. Flesh alone is not strong enough to break ties off of narcissists. Sometimes, most times, all the times, get in where you fit in. Every situation is different. So, of course, there will be things you have to do in the physical realm. So when I say that spirit needs to be broken in the spiritual realm, it's more so less about getting revelation through the Holy Spirit on what you need to do in the physical realm. So it's like a partnership. So, okay, you're trying to do everything right now in the flesh. You say you're going to ignore this person. Maybe you even leave for a couple of months and they come and they swear up and down that, they're done with their old ways. They're not going to do this again. They're not going to play mind games, reverse psychology. They've changed. First of all, that's love bombing. So they're going to tell you whatever, even change their ways temporary just to get back in. So once you open that door, all this, listen, they just keep adding on to the spider web that's already got you entangled. They don't have to start. This is why, envision the spider web. You know how they get bigger and bigger and bigger when you don't chop them down. This is why when you think you're done with the narcissist and you've left for a while and you get them, you let them back in, do you realize after they know that you let them back in, how it's almost immediate that those same feelings, emotions, hurt, pain, reverse psychology, your mind spinning all over the place. Do you realize how quick it gets back to that? It's because that web was never cut. So when you left them, or vice versa, or whatever, they discarded you or whatever, well, that web was never even broken down, knocked down, whatever. So when you let them back in, all they start doing is building on that same web. This is why the effects are immediate, because they don't have to start from ground zero. No, that web was never broken, and it has to be broken in a spiritual realm. So when you ask the Holy Spirit to guide you and lead you on what you need to do, listen. Listen, I already told you this, and I want to tell you again, go ahead and get your edge growth oil, because you may think the Holy Spirit is just going to say, oh, well, just ignore them. Honey, this thing is deep. So if you haven't seen, I may remember to plug one of the narcissist recordings in this description, but again, just to give you a few, there's going to be things you have to do. And that means sometimes you're going to have to remove people who you love, who happen just to be in the midst of the narcissist. So it's almost like you got to remove innocent people. Because sadly, the narcissist is petty and just demonic. So they will use anybody, including their children, to have that hold on you. So you may have to relocate. You may have to do this, do that, change your number, change your job, change whatever. But the point of the matter is, only the Holy Spirit can tell you what you need to do. Your job is to be obedient in the direction that He's telling you to move. Every situation is different. So you fast and you pray and you do whatever you do, how you connect to the Spirit to be able to get the revelation on what you need to do. Your job in the physical is to do what the spiritual realm is telling you to do. And once you've completed that, and trust me, you listen, listen, it's probably going to be one of the hardest things you've ever done, because there's too many moving parts. There's too many moving parts. But once you do it, once you get past that, and it will, listen, you will have to grieve it. You will have to grieve it, because remember, this is not just your normal relationship. These people have your mind, your emotions entangled. And then most times these are people that you genuinely love. They're just demonic people. But I mean, you love who you love. You can't just turn love off, regardless of their demonic, crazy, whatever. You love them. So you got all that combined. You got a person who you love. You got to grieve that, grieve those emotions. Now you have to grieve the relationships of the people connected to the narcissist that God requires you to move in order to get you out this web. Once the narcissist knows that you're pulling away, what are they going to do? They're going to start rumors. They're going to start stuff in the family that requires people to, they're going to tell lies just to have the people to call you so you can call them to try to say, what? Why are you still with this foolishness? Now, I mean, I don't want to, about my business, right? I'm just trying to live a great life over here. Why are you still telling these lies, starting these rumors? Just because it's about having you remember. Remember now, they live off of your energy. You have to starve them. You have to starve them in the spiritual realm. So starving them means you can't be picking up no phone, calling and saying, why are you still being petty? I mean, could you just let your girl live over here? Right? Could you just go on with your life? You can't be doing that. And then when they realize you won't call, when they realize that phone won't ring or that text message won't come through because you're obviously on the path of leaving this fool behind, then what do? They start a rumor. They tell somebody something because now, you got to defend yourself, right? They may be lying and saying that you're keeping the kids away from them, or you don't want to see their children. Like, they don't even tell the whole story, right? They're going to make up stuff and it's going to all look bad on you. So you got to now call everybody in the world to clear your name. Honey, please don't. Please don't. Because that's equivalent of you calling them. Remember, this is a spiritual realm. So you're calling somebody, let's just say their auntie, their uncle, whoever. And you're like, do you know such and such is lying and you're calling their name. You're calling their name. Remember, this is spiritual. You're calling their name. And you are joining the conversation. And now you're entangled again in this spider web that you were just pulling yourself from. You have to starve these fools. No contact is just not about contacting them. No contact means absolutely nothing attached to them. No conversations. It's like a fast. That just hit me. It's like a fast. You literally have to fast against them. And that means nothing. Don't even allow anyone to call their name. If someone is calling you, say, hey, I saw something. Respectfully, Because see, they're going to do that intentionally. They're going to call people and tell people certain things is going to make a person call you. Sadly, the people that they're using is all innocent and don't even know what's going on. They just can't even figure it out. Like, well, I mean, I just don't understand, like, what y'all problem is. Listen, honey, please just stay out the way. Please don't get in this. Just stay out the way, because you have absolutely no idea. Because if I tell you some things, if I tell you everything what the narcissist has done, then it will make all complete sense to you. But I'm not going to tell you right now, because then that means I'm still speaking their name and I'm still speaking about them, which then gets you tied back up into that web. Because now the person that you're really telling the truth and releasing the truth to is now like, oh my, I never knew all that was going on. So what do? They will call the narcissist back and say, I didn't know you were that evil. How could you do such? And now you're back in the web. You're going to have to just eat it. You didn't lose. You won. Think about it. Once you get through that grieving process and like you've really, really, really finally, all caps, finally left the narcissist right where they are, who really won? You're free. They're not. They're not free. They're tortured. They're tortured by demons. That's why they are the way they are. Now, what's going to happen is they're going to have to find another, what's the word when they find people and use people when they can't get, what's the word? I guess another source. That's not what I'm thinking, but another source. Whoever that may be, they'll find one. But you're free. Do you think God is just going to let them get away with all the stuff they did? All the lies they told? Do you think God is going to let them get away with that? See, you want to defend yourself and you want to fight back because it's like you want to, rightfully so, you want to protect yourself. No, with this, you got to let God protect you. Don't even worry about protecting yourself. You're not going to win a fleshly battle with a narcissist. You're not going to win. So you got to get out that mindset of trying to wanting to prove yourself and fight back and I'm going to do. No. God will deal with them. You go on about your life. Once you've healed, go on about your life. So, the quote unquote, I didn't ask you to do it, or in Mr. Steve case, you always want to tell me everything to do. So, I did speak with Steve very briefly yesterday. He's doing good. He still don't know I'm mad with him because, I'm not mad with him any longer, but he still don't even know that I had those feelings because remember I said in the recording that I was instructed not to say anything for him. Now I'm glad I did because I can see how that thing would have taken off and maybe took a left turn. So I'm really glad now, now that I was convicted not to say anything. So I still haven't addressed him about his little smirkiness and his rudeness and all that other stuff. But anyway, so I had a conversation with a gentleman last night. Ladies, I think it's very, very important to have that man in your life, whoever that man is for you. That can be a spouse, that can be a brother, an uncle, a cousin, a best friend, whoever, where they can give you a perspective or an opinion that's not biased. Meaning they're not saying it because they like you or they're trying to get with you or they just want to just tell you anything you want to hear. But they can give you a straight up, unbiased opinion. I think that's beautiful. But anyway, so I was still trying to, okay, ladies, we're nurturers, right? We're nurturers. Men are fixers. Men are doers. We're just nurturers. Again, we are who we are. Men are who they are. We just can't change that. So since I used Mr. Steve for the example in the last recording, I'll still use this example that I had said. All right. So if anybody hadn't seen that recording, so just very briefly. So Mr. Steve have been having some issues with his feet and his toenails. Well, when I went to take him some groceries or something like that, he was limping really bad, and he had one shoe on and one shoe off. So I asked him, was he having pain in his feet? He said it was his toenails, blase blase. Keep in mind, follow this, what I'm saying, so how I can break it down on him telling me something and then me going to make the appointment. So I'm gonna just break it down from here. All right. So when he told me he had his toenail issues, I then responded and said, oh, well, I can get you an appointment for you to go see a podiatrist. And he said, okay. He said, okay. So anyway, a few days later, I came back to drop him off some pain medication. I had a gentleman in the car with me who I'm working on the project with. Steve was in his feelings because he a little jealous, little streak going on, whatever. Start being a little short with the guy, start being short with me, as I was explaining to him that I had, at that point, made the appointment for his podiatrist, and he just was not happy about that. He said, well, why are you always telling me what to do? Right? You're always telling me what to do. So he didn't per se said, that I didn't ask you to do it. He didn't say that in this topic. I was speaking in general. But he said, you always telling me what to do. But at the time, I could not see it as me saying, in my mind, I'm just telling him, okay, I've made the appointment. But in his mind, as a man, and regardless of Mr. Steve's situation in his down season right now, Mr. Steve is truly a masculine man. He really is. He really is. If you can see past all the other stuff, he really is a masculine man. So I didn't see it as me telling him this in front of this gentleman who Steve is already having a little petty streak about. It's almost like I'm being his mother in front of the man. Where if I had said to him privately, maybe, hey, Steve, I made the appointment, he wouldn't have took it like that per se. But it's almost like me having to be his mother in front of the man. So it ain't even about me. It's about how he looks in front of this man. Okay, that's part of it. I mean, whatever. I don't get it, but I get it. Okay, cool. So then the way it was broken down to me last night too is this. Steve just told me that his feet hurt. Or I asked him and he told me his feet hurt. He didn't tell me to make the appointment at the podiatrist. That's the woman in me. That's the nurturing in me, right? He just told me his feet hurt. And his toenails are 12 inches long. And even though he didn't ask me, it's still the woman in me is saying, how could any woman not have that nurturing side to say, well, okay, you're limping. I mean, something has to be done. Well, that's how I think. That's the nurturing side of me. But truth be told, he never asked me. So, am I just supposed to watch him limp in pain? Well, yeah. Until he hurts enough to come to you and say, hey, can you make the appointment? So if he haven't come to you yet to say, hey, can you make me an appointment, or can you help me, or can you give me any numbers, any connect? When he hurt bad enough, he will come to you and say that. But to me as a woman, that feels like almost torture. How can you just want somebody? But that's the nurturing side in us. So we as women, some, have to allow some men to make mistakes, or not saying this is a mistake, but in general, meaning you can see them going left, right? Because we're multitaskers. We can see, ping, 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 ping. We can see all that stuff and what the outcome may be. But we're not God. So we just got to let them do what they do. Because we don't even see it as emasculating them. We just see it as, Lord, please let me help you. It's absolutely insane that I'm watching you in pain and here it's insane that you won't even let me do it. No, what could be insane is the way they see it. Stop trying to make me do things that you want me to do. I didn't tell you I want to go to the appointment, get an appointment today. Now you all in your feelings because you scheduled an appointment on your turn up day, and now you in your feelings because I'm telling you I didn't actually make me an appointment. But I really didn't ask you. Okay. It's true, right? I had to really sit down and contemplate this thing in pieces last night because it's true. We as women are nurturers. We want to and we don't even realize that we're overstepping boundaries because we just want to help. We just want to, it's painful for us to see you in pain. But we got to step back. We got to step back. We got to just step back and just keep our mouth closed. And what is really the absolute truth is this. When they get in enough pain, or when they've had enough of bumping their heads too many times on the wrong route, they will come back. And it's not our job to say, I told you so. Didn't I tell you, if you didn't go to the podiatrist, that those toenails will start to grow into your skin? Okay, I mean, you're already a diabetic, so what? Right? But see, we are, everything that we would want to say at the end, what frustrates us is because if you do it now, right? Because I already know what the outcome is. You're going to have to come back to me. And now it may be worse. Now I'm going to have to schedule an appointment for this. You might have already gotten an infection. So we see all that. So when we're moving, it's because we see what the outcome could be and we're trying to catch it. But we got to just step back and let men do what they do and just wait for them to come and say, all right, can you help me? And then we can have our happy moment of just being nurturers. It is the most difficult thing, but I get it now. I get it. So again, it's no right or no wrong. We're just different. We think different, right? Men are just fixers. I'll give you another quick example. I remember about 8 years ago, I had a session with a gentleman. And he was in his 50s at the time. His 2-year-old was diagnosed with cancer. And his wife, of course, being a mother, very nurturing, like stopped working. She was like a head RN. He owned a very, very successful construction company. And when the child was diagnosed with cancer, of course, she quit her job. She stayed at home to take care of her child. Well, he was nowhere to be found. He would either overwork or just whatever he would do outside of the house. I don't know. But as a woman, her whole mindset was, how in the world could you not be here with me nurturing this child, right? You should want to spend every single minute with this child, with your child, because we don't know how long this child's going to be here. Well, the child is alive now, the teenager, and doing exceptionally well. But the point is, you don't know how long this child is going to be here. So why would you not even want to be home? And I mean, she was enraged. She hated him because of all this. Before the child was diagnosed with cancer, they had a great marriage, but because he was not receptive to what she needed and his support, especially to her emotions at this time, she developed hate for him. But men are fixers, meaning if they can, and of course this is not a one size fit all category, because you got some men who would never leave that child's side, right? But we're speaking in general. Men are fixers. So if a man can't fix the problem, it's easier to run away. We as women see it as you're trifling, you're this, you're that, versus seeing it as he can't fix this. It's torture to him to sit here and watch you and your emotions cry, and he can't even fix your emotions, nor can he fix the fact that his child have cancer. So he'd rather stay away from home. But you're thinking, oh, he's cheating. He's this, he's that, he's this and that. And I get it. Does it make it right or wrong? I mean, some people would say, yeah, because I mean, why would you want to be rich? But does it really make it right or wrong? Or just does it make it perspective? So after having this conversation last night, this is things that dropped into my spirit, were examples that I've had in the past. Mind you, in my mind, I was on sis side. Like, you better be sitting up in this house with me, right? But then the spirit gave me a different point of view. So all that came back into my mind last night after having that conversation. So again, it's not right or wrong. It's perspective. I think that's all I wanted to say. I don't know. So you guys chime in. Let me know what you think. You guys have a great one. It's your girl, Kizzy Rock.